Skozeny's introduction. In the rear of the Mercedes, wearing the rank of SS Standartenführer for the first time, Otto Skorzeny hardly ventures to look out at the devastation that informs him his war was ending in inevitable defeat. He closes his eyes as his mind returns to better times, bringing a small smirk to his battle-hardened face, but this is quickly broken when his second-in-command, SS Sturmbannführer Karl Rodil, turns to face him, showing his exasperation at all that beholds them. "Are you all right, Otto?" Rodil questions, making Skorzeny's eyes flicker, then open to see they had arrived at their destination. "You seem a little distracted." Not feeling the need to explain, Skorzeny ignores his friend and comrade as he looks around at the devastation outside. Hauptfeldwebel Hans Bergdorf, an impressively dressed Wehrmacht non-commissioned officer, showing medals and battle honors gained during the war on his tunic, climbs out of the driver's seat, opens the rear door to the Mercedes, then stands aside as he comes rigidly to attention. Showing the effects of a long drawn-out war, which of late had been one of dismal retreat, and a long tedious journey fraught with the dangers from prowling Allied fighters, Skorzeny alights, followed by Rodil, both stretching out their aching bodies. Looking at the wasted desolation he had attempted to avoid during the journey, Skorzeny shows no emotion as his eyes shift to the once grand Reich Chancellery, which shows the marks the heavy bombing had left. The stonework is heavily scarred and the grounds and gardens pitted with varying sizes of bomb craters. Soldiers and civilians clear the debris in a ridiculous show of Germanic efficiency as they attempt to keep some sort of normality. Waffen-SS officers and soldiers, from countries conquered by the Germans and who had elected to betray their own and serve the fatherland in the fight against communism, find themselves constructing defensive structures as they anxiously await the Red Army onslaught. The last of the millions of highly trained soldiers of the once massive German army that had conquered large swaths of Europe, Russia, and North Africa, stand ready to protect a Führer who is alien to them as they fight against the odds, as if protecting their homeland capitals from invaders, well aware that in their own countries, they are traitors to their own people. Born on the 12th of June 1908 in Vienna, Austria, SS Standartenführer Otto Skorzeny stands 6'4" in height with broad shoulders and a handsome Germanic demeanor. A large Duelingschmiss, received during his Burschenschaft University days in Vienna, runs across the left side of his face, from his chin, tipping the left corner of his mouth, across his cheek, almost reaching his earlobe, only missing it by a mere 10 millimeters. His uniform bears a single oak leaf on both collars indicating the rank of colonel, along with the Iron Cross first and second class and the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross on his chest. His swift rise to notoriety and the attention of the Allies had come when on the 26th of July 1943 Hitler had given him the task of rescuing his friend and the Italian dictator, Il Duce, the leader, Benito Mussolini. Codenamed Unternehmen Eicher, Operation Oak, Mussolini had been overthrown and imprisoned on the orders of the Italian king, Victor Emmanuel III, who had seen the wind of change and had approached the Allies to save himself. This mission was carried out with great finesse on the 12th of September 1943 by Skorzeny, the men of Jagdverband 502, and General Karl Student's Fallschirmjäger, who assaulted the Gran Sasso in Italy, rescuing the Italian dictator with minimal casualties, catapulting the once unknown soldier into worldwide infamy with the help of Joseph Goebbels' propaganda machine, which at that time in the war needed a hero desperately. His military career was then catapulted to greater heights when, Unternehmen Panzerfaust, Operation Armored Fist, was devised and he successfully kidnapped the wayward son of the Hungarian president, Admiral Mikos Horthy, on the 15th of October 1944, after he was found to be negotiating the surrender of all Hungarian forces in the east to the Russians. The surrender of the Hungarians would have caused a catastrophic collapse on several of the Russian fronts and would have left the German army vulnerable to encirclement and annihilation. Due to his actions, Hungary carried on fighting to the end of the war, saving the lives of tens of thousands of German soldiers and airmen. The Russian Premier, Joseph Stalin, personally had a bounty placed on his head for his death. In late 1944, Unternehmen Griffin, Operation Grief, was devised as the ultimate task to disrupt the American lines of communications and their ability to fight during the Ardennes offensive. Known to the Germans as Unternehmen Wacht am Rhein, Operation Watch on the Rhine, and to the Allies as the Ardennes Counteroffensive, or the Battle of the Bulge, his English-speaking men were hastily trained to infiltrate American lines and cause as much disruption as possible, allowing the German army to push the Americans back, causing panic between the 16th December and 25th of January 1945, but after a small setback it was thwarted by overwhelming American forces. Known as Germany's last gamble in the West, their plan, although nonsensical, was to separate the British and American armies in order to recapture the Belgian port of Antwerp and disrupt the Allies' military expansion into the Western European theatre. Thanks for watching. Available on Amazon. Link in the description.